We are back here, Ethan Clerc podcast show, big episode 57, back here in Mankato. 5-7, back here in Mankato. Good to be back. And we are continuing Damon's word, Podtober.
Yes. I looked that up after I said it, and it's already taken.
Is it already taken? Okay.
Some other genius.
I'm gonna have to bleep myself. Some other genius. I'm gonna have to bleep myself because we don't want to get a copyright violation for that word.
Hashtag it. Hashtag it, and then everyone else will find it too.
Exactly. So we'll just call this the Ethan Clerc podcast show in October. It's a little bit longer, but we're just kind of continuing our trend of Halloween related and paranormal related topics, and this week is going to be a good one.
Good time to do it.
Before we get into that, though, we kind of want to give bring up again the haunted schoolhouse in Windham, which we've been talking about the past couple weeks. We ended up going through it this past weekend, and you were kind of asking about it, Damon.
Yeah.
It went pretty good.
Because if you were going to call, I was going to say I was probably busy, but
yeah. Oh, really? Yeah, because we had a big group, and they kind of split people up, and you kind of go with different.
Yeah, we had
people.
like 9, I think.
Yeah,
not because I don't like you, because just because I heard it was a workout, and that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
I'm not that I'm afraid of a workout.
We started with 9, ended with 8.
Really? Someone said
somebody bunnied out.
Really?
Yep, our friend Hunter.
We brought 2 girls, only one made
the
it.
Bus, but our friend Hunter didn't make it all the way.
Maybe she's just tired. Maybe she wasn't scared.
No, there was a part where you have to crawl through a tube, and she got in the tube, and the tube's like one of those drainage tubes, and she couldn't go all the way. So she's like, I'm
claustrophobic.
Claustrophobia a little bit, yeah. So she's like, I can't do this, so I'm turning around.
I might have been with her because that was a little tight. I thought maybe they were taking you down the mines and stuff like that.
Well, there's a slide. I don't want to ruin it for everybody.
Don't ruin it.
Yeah.
They got a lot of good stuff going on.
It's not your typical haunted house where you're walking through halls and people are jumping out at you. They have
that too, but they throw a lot of
there's
stuff.
There's a story involved where you actually go to jail and you have to break
you start
out.
at the Sun Bowl,
right? You put handcuffs on. Yeah,
okay,
you get
come on.
Yeah,
that's not really giving away anything.
That's getting people to want to go.
Exactly. You get handcuffs on. You get on a prison bus. You go to a courtroom and they sentence you, and then you have to break out of jail. And then from there on, it's crazy.
Well, and when I'm not wasn't bad mouthing the haunted house. I'm just not a haunted house guy. People ask me all the time. They can't believe I don't like haunted houses.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'd
for
probably think
everybody.
I was a real prisoner. Not that I'd be scared, but like I'd want to if I wasn't scared, I'd be the type that would want to act like, oh my gosh, you got me. It's probably really scary though.
Do they do like that? Anything in Mankato? Any haunted house that you were familiar?
They have
with?
the one in Garden City.
The bars every weekend.
The bars. It gets a little out of hand. Yeah.
Definitely worth the $10 though.
Yeah,
so check
it's
it out.
only $10 really. I mean, it's $10. There's one more weekend next weekend.
This upcoming weekend.
This upcoming weekend.
50 tickets a time, and they sell out every time.
They've sold out every single night for every hour that they do. So definitely go check that out. Windham Haunted Schoolhouse in Windham, Minnesota. It is definitely worth the $10 and $15 at the door if you don't pre-order the tickets.
What do you do when you? One more thing, real quick, when we move on, because we got a great guest tonight.
Yep.
But what do you do if you save money? Do you have to just go sit outside, or do they give you like a cookie?
They just bring you to the
snacks?
ending.
Yeah, I don't think you get any food. No.
They just bring you to where the rest of the people come out.
They kind of they don't make you the laughing stock, but they're really trying to get like as many people to bunny out as possible.
I mean, you've seen her since. She's okay?
She's alive.
Okay.
She's alive and well. Yeah.
She got in the car with us after.
They don't make you part of the haunted house.
Oh, okay, good.
So no, that is a little promotion there for the bar because we got to help them out. They help us out all the time too. So this week on the podcast, though, we are going to be talking about psychics and not psychology, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that. We were kind of talking about it before, energy healing. I was just kind of going through your website, vibrational sound therapy. I was just kind of going through it, Reiki, stuff like that. So the guest this week, very excited to have our second ever female guest on the podcast. Well, actually, we've had a couple more than that.
I think my first.
Your first time being with a female guest. We haven't had too many. It's kind of a men's show. So you're brave coming into the Lion's Den here. Miki Orr from Faribault.
Yes.
So thank you very much for coming on, Miki.
Great to be here.
And just kind of tell us a little bit about your background, because I'm really curious as to how you got into this. Like, how did this become something that you were interested in?
It started probably 10 years ago or so. Me and a friend went to see a psychic. She had a buy one, get one half off. So I thought, that's a good idea. Let's go do it.
Yeah.
And this is when I lived in Kansas. So we drove down to Wichita and saw the psychic. And towards the end, she said, Miki, you're very psychic. You really should come to my classes. I went, right. And I didn't, like says the psychic, she just wants more money, right? So I could not go. It just kept calling me. And it actually started where I found my church. I'm a member of the oldest spiritualist church in the nation. It's called Sunset Spiritualist Church in Camp. And it's in the middle of nowhere in Kansas and Wells, Kansas.
Wow.
Kind of by Minneapolis, Kansas, Concordia, if anybody knows Kansas. And that's where the classes were. And we went once a month, and I just started opening up. There's different kinds of psychics. Everyone is psychic. I was just one that was when I was born and kind of closed down because I didn't need it.
Yeah.
And I just had to work on bringing it back out.
Wow. And you said you're from Kansas.
No, I'm actually from Faribault. I lived in Kansas for about 20 years or so, 25 years.
So what brought you back here then to the area?
Just I needed to come back home, just change of life.
Yeah.
Kind of, and I was ready to come back. Kansas was really hard on me for the 20 years I was there.
Really?
I never liked it. It was very hot, very windy, and there was no natural lakes and hardly any trees. Yeah. So how can you live in that when that's what you grow up in?
Yeah.
So I finally made peace with Kansas and decided that there was prettiness and nothingness in the prairie. And then all of a sudden my life changed and I moved home.
Wow.
So maybe that's why I had to be there, is to find beauty in something like that.
Yeah. Well, and you said you're part of the largest
the oldest spiritualist church in the nation. There's a couple of them well known out east. There's Lilydale and Chesterfield.
Okay.
Those are kind of big ones, and they're not as old as mine. It started Quakers coming from the East Coast, landed in Kansas, and they started a church.
Oh, wow.
And the spiritualist church back in the 1890s.
What's the difference? I'm not too familiar with it. What's the difference between I can't even say the word. Spiritualist and like Christian, or is it the same?
It's the same thing,
okay.
Actually. Well, my church it's a Christian church, and we didn't really have priests, but we do have people who become ministers.
Okay.
And they're not, because it's a very small church, and the ministers just lived everywhere, and so every once in a while you'd take your turn and do the service.
Gotcha.
So the only difference is we didn't have like a communion, but if you wanted one, you could do one.
Okay.
At the end, we give messages. So we'd stand up and say, "May I come to you?" And then you'd give them a message. So that's the only difference.
That keeps you on your toes if you have to lead the service. Every once in a while.
Yeah, that did I did it a couple of times, and I was good with just a couple.
Yeah.
Great, though, to get people into the message and get people talking themselves. Because when you think of church,
listening.
you have your pastor, and he's kind of the one who talks the whole time. But then if you give the community or the congregation...
get the whole church body involved.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it was very relaxed. Like, they'd be up at... I guess the altar, you could call it, and we'd be like, "Hey, turn up the air."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a very relaxed setting.
Yeah,
for
everybody
church.
didn't wear shoes. I mean, because you had to feel the earth, kind of thing. So it was very relaxed.
Was it in a building or was you outside?
Yeah, it was a church made by the elders. They had moved the grounds, and they even brought some of the cabins. So every year there's like a week camp, what we call psychic camp. And people can go, and they just stay in these cabins, and some of the older ones are like 100 years old, and they are a little haunted.
Wow.
People hear things in them when they stay in them.
Wow.
And then we have free classes that they can have, and then you can get readings or energy healing or whatever you want, and they serve meals. The church, and it's a very nice place.
I suppose it's inside, because if it's outside and you said turn up the air, you have to talk to
right.
Talk to God. Hey,
hey, could you turn the air over?
Can we get the temperature lowered a little bit?
If I could have done it when I lived in Kansas, I would have trusted.
Well, you mentioned something interesting. You said everyone is psychic. I've never heard that before.
Everyone is psychic.
I've never heard that before.
Yep, it's everyone's born with it. I closed down because it wasn't nurtured and I didn't need it. Now kids that are being born are more open. And I don't know if you realize that when you're around little ones, they're awful bright and they have a shine to them. And part of the belief or what's going on is our DNA is changing and more activated. We have the certain strands that were our physical DNA, and then there was other DNA that they called the junk DNA. They found out more that that's our spiritual DNA.
Wow.
So children that are being born now have more of that activated.
Huh.
And as you work on yourself spiritually, psychically, you kind of work on raising that up too as you work on yourself.
Yep. Well, and you said that it was something that you didn't know that you were so good at
I thought people knew what blue felt like. I thought people felt what other people feel. I mean, I just thought,
wow, everyone
did. How do you know what you don't know?
Yeah.
And then
true.
Realizing it, and then, I can do this. And no one was more surprised than my family. So,
well, how do you utilize those skills then? Because you figure out, like you said, you can feel colors. How does that work? Because it's something I can't.
Everybody has a superpower, so to speak, part of the clairs. So you have clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, and the clear smelling one. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of that one. So I'm more clairsentient, which is clear feeling, more of the empath vein. Those that are more clairvoyant, they're more seeing. Clairaudient are more hearing. I can use all of my clairs, but like I said, my superpower is the feeling. So when I'm doing a reading for someone, I connect with them and I feel them. And like when their passed on loved ones will come through, I like see them.
Really?
They'll feel like this to me, and I'll just say they're like this. And then they'll show me pictures, maybe big ears. Usually when they're coming to men, older men, they show certain things like ears because that keeps growing, or their nose. Sometimes if there's a mark on their forehead, they'll give me something of that so that I can give some proof that I have them with, instead of just saying, oh, yes, I have your Uncle Johnny here.
You can physically see them there with them.
No,
you can't.
I feel them around them.
Gotcha.
I guess is the best way I can explain
like
it.
an aura.
Sort of. They're just there.
Yeah.
I feel.
You wouldn't call it a ghost.
No, not at all. No, those who are more clear seeing, they will see them. I see them standing right next to you.
Wow.
I don't. And I'm not good with names, and that's partly because I can't remember a name in this life, so why would I remember or hear a name? Once in a while I get one, and if I'm good on it, then it's like, hey, makes me look good.
Yep. What's the most common question people come to you and ask you when they do a reading, or when you do a reading?
A lot of is they're at a crossroads in their life, not quite sure what direction to go. Do I need a new job? Do I need this? Or what am I good at? Always the love life is definitely a good one.
Yep.
And their children, they want to know about their kids or passed on loved ones. I'm glad that I get them, but it is sometimes very hard to read people for this because they're crying, so I'm feeling them crying, so I'm crying.
Yeah.
I switched to waterproof mascara because I was just, dripping all the time.
Wow.
So it makes it hard, especially like big cases or, where we had a gentleman who had an early passing by an accident, and I didn't realize who he was, but he was very well known. And then his wife came in for a reading, and I'm glad I didn't remember the name because that would have put a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah.
So I thank God he came through and he gave her some words of wisdom and some places, what to do or whatever. And it was very, very helpful. That's the part of my work that I really do like, is that I can really help people move through some grief. When they realize that they're right there and I can see them and I can tell them things, then they don't seem so far away. And then they're more apt to maybe try and hear them, feel them, sense them around them. Because our loved ones are always around us.
Yeah.
Does that make it difficult? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Does that make it difficult if you're not feeling something positive from someone asking something? Do you ever censor yourself with them? Or
Well, sometimes
is that tough?
It is. Sometimes I only ask that the message be clear, accurate, useful, and uplifting. So that'll kind of eliminate some of those. I do get nudges of something. We all have a dark side, so to speak. And sometimes if that is being bothersome in your life and is causing you problems, then spirit will bring that up at times. Sometimes I pussyfoot around, and then sometimes it's just like, I'm just going to tell you what I'm hearing.
Yeah, because like sometimes with tarot cards, some people don't do the upside down ones for that reason because they're,
Yeah, and it's just whatever they need to hear, usually. And if people come in with the preconceived notion that they want to talk to this person, they want this, or like, I have a special little thing we said if they ever died, that when I go to a psychic, they're going to tell me yada, yada, yada. And I said, well, that ain't happening.
No,
I mean, that's great in TV land, but it's not really going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and that brings
Ethan,
on...
mine's rhubarb.
Rhubarb?
So,
Okay.
I don't
Okay. I'll remember that. Let me write that down, Damon. Rhubarb.
Just
Okay.
kidding.
The pie or just normal rhubarb?
Just rhubarb.
Okay.
Whatever comes to your mind. I mean, if you think pie, go ahead. Go with it.
This whole thing brings on an important point, though. How do you separate the people, like you brought up TV, from real psychics who actually care? Because I was doing research. The psychic industry is a $2 billion a year industry. So there's a lot of money in this. How do you separate the real people doing it from the fake? Because like anything, you're going to have people that are in it for the good. You're going to have people that are in it for the bad.
I just let spirit take care of those people. I don't worry too much about it. There's nothing I really can do. Even if they're not giving them accurate information or true psychic information, if it helps the individual, is it wrong? You know, I don't really know if they're taking from them and, you know, always say, oh, you have to come back in a week, or oh, you have to come back in a week. That I do not care for. I've had a couple clients that don't rely on themselves for their own answers, and they come to me for answers. And it's like, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a physician, I'm not these things, and I don't want a weekly or a monthly reading client. There's only so much I can get. And I'm not just going to take your money and just give you junk, because that in turn will give me a bad reputation.
I like your process, because you want to give them the tools or to give them the insight so they can take it on themselves and do something instead of just looking for answers. Like
exactly. Exactly. And I was like, this is a life lesson for you. Are you going to learn it?
You can control your character, but you can't control other people's characters in life in general, not even just like, because like, so if you live with yourself what you're doing and you know that it's real, and you go with it.
Well, and there's an important point you made there. Let's just say 100% this is all not real, and there's nothing that any psychic is doing is a real thing. It's kind of the same point argument you could make with religion. Is what in the end goal, is it a bad goal or is it a good goal? And in the end, you're trying to help people and uplift them. So even if everything that you're predicting or whatever was not real, you'd still be giving them a positive message and uplifting. So when people come after you for negative reasons, when this could be something that could save someone's life or change their life or make them do a positive decision, it's kind of the same argument that you can make with religion. Is it
or Santa Claus?
Yeah,
but
Santa Claus.
But I don't want to talk about Santa Claus. So we don't have to put like a warning on the front for kids.
Or some therapists. I mean, you got the same thing. And to protect myself in this too, I have a minister's license.
Okay.
And that is because then I can counsel without having a degree in it. And that just is just your blanket. That's why a lot of psychics are ministers.
Gotcha.
And I couldn't believe how easy it was. I signed up and on this one website, and they sent me an email. I thought this was something to go to a class or whatever. They said, no.
Wow.
You're ordained. I went,
wow. It's that easy.
It's that easy.
Huh.
I'm surprised you haven't done that, Ethan.
My cousin's ordained, he told me, and he's not he's not like going to college or...
Ethan will be by 25.
Yeah.
I'm going to be an ordained minister,
Well, you can marry people, you can do funerals. I mean, you can do anything then.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that the point I was just trying to make with that is that there's a positive side to this whole thing. It's not, you can kind of look down on it, and the people that are trying to get money out of people obviously are not in there for the good. That could be with anything.
Karma has a great way of taking care of people like that. And it always comes back tenfold.
Yep. And so I think it's just it's a good thing, and that really is when you got me there. When you know the positive thing, you look for the uplifting messages to give people, because sometimes it doesn't take a family member talking to them. It doesn't take a pastor talking to them. It has to take somebody else that they don't really know too well to give them answers.
Well, exactly, and it is almost kind of scary how much weight people give a psychic. And I have to be very mindful of this, that sometimes when I say something, they will take it for truth. When I get my information, they'll give me a feeling, or they'll show me a lot of pop culture stuff, and then it's my job to discern what they're trying to tell me. So I can be in the ballpark, but I may not be spot on.
Yeah.
It's just like what my life tells me, what happened to me is how I'm feeling, is how I'm going to try and tell them. For example, they'll do Brady Bunch ones a lot. And there's a particular one where Jan gets hit with the football. She goes, oh, my nose. Right? Did you know that one? And if you look at it over and over, it doesn't hit her nose. It really hits her shoulder. So I have to discern, did someone throw a football at him? Did they break her nose, or did it hit him in the shoulder? And then I kind of feel that out, and I kind of, and they're like, yes, or hopefully they'll say yes, or whatever. But that's just an example. A lot of Fred Flintstone cartoon stuff, little feet going.
Yeah. Interesting.
I always get that. When I go into someone's energy, I usually work from the feet up. The feet will tell you so much about a person. Are they on the ground? Are they in mud? Are they in sludge? Are they up on... there are a couple of people where I was trying to feel their feet, and I didn't feel anything until I got to the knees. And I said, this is just odd. I said, I don't feel you until I get to your knees. You've got nothing on the ground and this and that. And when I feel that now, I realize it's people who have died and come back.
Really?
That's how they feel.
Wow.
So
just from the knee up. I wonder why that.
Well, they're halfway over and came back, and so full in body, they did not, and their feet aren't necessarily touching the ground anymore, and it's a spiritual experience that happened to them, so they're completely changed. One of the clients I had was actually on a TV show that was I Survived. I don't know if you recall that show. It was on Discovery or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So she actually was working in a cow barn, and she got rushed by a bull, and the bull hit her, threw her up, and came down, and she passed when that happened, and she remembered sitting up on a fence and deciding, do I go this way or do I go that way? And she decided to come back. But because of that, her energy shifted and changed, and it created her to be different. Wow. And I've also had people who have done that are walk-ins, which is really cool to work with a walk-in.
Wow.
Their soul, they made a decision that they weren't going to be in that physical body for the whole life. There's an event that happens. That person dies, they leave, and then someone else comes back in. And I've worked with a couple of these, and they have completely different personalities than the original person. They usually change their name, and they don't remember things, and none of that, like the amnesia thing or whatever. So when you can feel someone like that, it's interesting, and it really helps them to know that they're not crazy.
Wow. That's unbelievable. I've never heard anything like that before. Mm-hmm. And what's even crazier to me is you're talking about feeling from the ground, like the legs up. I didn't know there was energy that you could feel. I was picturing you're focusing more on like the head, soul, like your heart. Like I didn't know it was your entire body is where you can feel stuff.
Right. And I'm a little bit of a medical intuitive. So when I go in and I feel, then I pay attention to what I feel on me. I always say, notice what you notice, because Spirit's talking to you. And so like all of a sudden I'll get a twinge here, and it's like, okay, what does that twinge mean? And then it's like, do you have issues in the bowels, or is there issues in, your ovaries or whatever? And that'll tell me a little bit more. A lot of times I get pains in the knees and the hips, and I'll work my way up a body.
Wow.
And that'll help me. And that when I do Reiki on someone, that's very useful too.
Wow.
Well, that probably goes back to the church you're telling us about, how you don't have shoes on when you're in your church.
Right. You got to feel the ground. I don't like wearing shoes at all. You feel the vibration. And to be grounded too, because psychic people normally are not grounded because we're living up here in our upper chakras, and it's really hard to come back down and be in our feet. So that's why they're all woo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And I balance fairly good. So I say, ask the people around me if I do. I balance, I think, fairly good between grounded and then ungrounded, because you got to, when you're sitting with and doing a reading with someone, you have to raise yourself up and kind of let go a little bit so that they meet you and you get their information.
Wow.
Do you feel readings go, how do I phrase this? If you're outside and actually with your feet on the earth or in a building, like on a floor.
Yeah, true.
Like, is there a difference? Or that you've seen or felt?
Are you talking like dirt, grass?
Well, grass. Well, I always like
earth and building.
Concrete.
Yes, there is a difference. Yes, there's a huge difference with concrete. I don't like being in concrete buildings with overhead lighting or that fluorescent lighting. It makes me almost sick and dizzy. A lot of people get it because of the way the energy bounces off the concrete and how it's not absorbed, and it just is in there. And then you have the lights with that buzz too.
Oh.
So, to ground myself, I like to go outside. I love being outside. I have to go for walks. I have to blow out my aura in the wind, and this past weekend was great for that.
Yeah.
It was lovely. It's like, oh, my body loves this.
I lost my aura on the way in here. It's so windy out today.
Exactly.
We got 20-mile-per-hour winds out
So if you
there.
didn't feel anything, that's why.
You got a little crazy.
It's down the riverfront.
Yeah, whatever was in my energy field is gone now.
Is it something where you need to physically touch somebody, like palm readings? Why is that a thing? And how does that become part of...
Some people, to touch is called psychometry, where you can pick somebody's watch or whatever, and you can do that. And part of it is you're reading the energy of the thing, like a watch or something, who wore it. I guess that's what you're reading, the person's energy on it. What was the other part of your question you had asked?
Palm reading. Why is that a thing?
They're great. I mean, I knew a palmist, and I thought, I'm going to try palmist. And it was like, you had to know too much. And it's like,
really?
no, yes, this line means this, that line means that.
Maps.
And this is a little something. If you got two little lines here, it means something. And my one friend said, oh, you've got the psychic pinky. And so everyone's like, oh, what's the psychic pinky? And it's like this little point on your pinky. It's like, I don't think I got points on my pinkies. But apparently, I got psychic pinkies.
I don't think
Do your lines run together, Ethan?
Where is that at?
Right here. Right there. Do they come together?
Can you check for me? I'm not sure what I'm looking for.
Yours are pretty bare. Did you sit around like that?
Yeah, I just sit around here. I build fires outside with sticks. Yeah.
Turn up the heat.
Yeah. Is it something? Why do you know? Is it?
I don't know. I just know Loveline and like this little path.
Yeah, that all means something.
Yeah.
So they're more studying what they can see on your palm.
Well, true, and they're also using their intuition to help guide them too as to where to go. They're kind of consider your palm could be considered like a deck of cards too. Like this line means so. It sometimes when you use other tools, it helps you to focus on what's really going on. Like I don't use tarot decks. I use oracle cards, which are different. They're more about the symbol on it or a word on it. Where the tarot deck is the 5 of Cup means this, or the Ace of whatever means that, and that's just way too much for me to know.
Okay.
I just like using something easy so I feel it and I see it, and whatever sticks out on the card is what I need to convey.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. So there is an aspect of it where you can use physical things, and then there's an aspect of it where you don't need anything at all.
Right. A lot of times I'll start a reading, and towards the end I'll just pull some cards out. I have a couple different decks. I'll say which one looks good to you, and I'll just say pick 3 cards and we'll start the story. And a lot of times Spirit reiterates what we talked about in the reading, so that helps validate it, and they hear it again. And when they pick that card and see it, it really means something to them. So then they're able to use the information better.
Gotcha. And what you were talking about before, how we all have the psychic in us. Mm-hmm. How can people pull that out and make it useful? Or is there only certain people that can?
Oh, no, anybody can. So the best thing is learn how to meditate. Meditate. If you can't meditate, then don't even bother trying to be psychic, because you have to be able to be in that light trance state in order for your mind to go to that next level. And when you start working on yourself and bringing spirit in, you have to work on your individual issues that weigh you down. And a lot of people start, and when they start getting to too much of the hurty things, they let go and they release and they just stop. That's why it's a little bit harder to keep going. You just have to keep going and going, because things will bubble up, and you have to look at yourself honestly and then take care of what the issue is, release it, let it go. And then whenever you do that, then you're just lighter. And I can just feel spirit around me more. I get more tingly. And then, like, the messages come to me better. So it's just an ongoing process.
It's a good message for everybody, even if you're not trying to be psychic, just to let that stuff go and meditate.
Well, right. So when I talked about going in on people's feet, you cannot imagine some of the people, their feet are like in gunk or cement. And to me, that means emotional stuff. So when I get that, it's like, how are I said, your ankles got to be hurting and creaking. They like, yes, they're horrible. So they have the physical manifestation of it because they're in so much emotional sludge they can't move.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ethan, I took a meditation class in college, but
really,
but it was 8 in the morning. So I had to walk across campus, and then it was kind of tough. Sleeping. It was kind of tough to meditate. When you're waking up to do it.
You just fall asleep every day.
Right? It was.
I've never meditated before, so I am interested in.
I know sports teams do as like teams sometimes.
Yeah, I'm interested in how would someone get into that's never done it before.
I saw an article like detentions do it now, like do meditation instead of detention time, and it's starting to prove, scientifically proven, that it's helping the students
really
clear and stuff.
People will say, it's like, Miki, you're so different than what you used to be. I was a little more uptight. And the meditation just helped really, balance me out a whole lot. There's all kinds of difference. You can sit and go if you want, or I like walking meditations. Crafting is a meditation for me.
Art,
Doing dishes can be a meditation. Anything. Oh, art is very good. Zentangle is something I like to do. When you're drawing here and your mind can go here. Anything that can help get you in a lighter trance state or away from reality in a bit.
Just take the stress off.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a mantra? Do you use mantra, or do you?
No, I don't. Much? I just kind of have a quick little way to get into. I'll just like count back from 3, take a breath, 2, take a breath, 1, take a breath, and I'll just say I am ready to receive messages from spirit. And then
a good one too is driving. Like, you have to pay attention to the road, but mine, when I kind of clear my mind when I'm driving, tonight I'm going to be looking for deer left and right.
I would be watching
harvesting, but we mentioned that. But and it's also like if you're listening to like music or just it's important, people.
Yep.
Well, we had a guest on, Jack, who was talking about every night he tunes into this YouTube playlist, and it's a meditation playlist, and they play what was it, Buddhist humming.
He had pyramids, right?
He was doing stuff with crystals.
Sure, I work with crystals
and
too.
pyramids and stuff. And he was talking about how he could. What was it about? How there was lights shining from this pyramid that he could see, but he knew they weren't real. But it was a light shining from this pyramid he has set
There's
up.
a lot of research being done about the work of a pyramid and how cool that is and what the energy becomes in that pyramid. But on the anything can be a meditation as long as you let yourself release and let go. There was something else you said, and I kind of got off track. I'm sorry. I was going to add on, so I apologize.
I think, what was I talking about? Crystals? Was that what was you going to go somewhere with crystals?
I work with crystals a lot.
He was talking about meditation and how he tuned into this playlist is where I was going.
Oh, I know what it was. Good. When you said Google or whatever, and Spirit has said this, the only 3 things you need in life is duct tape, Google, and YouTube. And you can do anything.
True.
So when
WD-40. Add that.
Fourth one. WD-40. I will add that. But honestly, you can go on YouTube and you can just do guided meditations to get you started. If you can find a good voice that doesn't bother you. Some of them voices are kind of annoying. I do that often, and sometimes I just put earbuds in my ears and listen to music. It can be rock music, it can be anything that takes you to a place.
Well, here's the thing. Usually, like if your electronics work or don't work, like your laptop, your cameras, they always say to unplug it and like wait 15 seconds.
Yeah,
it's like the same with people.
Exactly.
Just unplug yourself and wait 15
reset
minutes.
Yourself
reset yourself.
And unplug somebody else.
Maybe suggest that.
Yeah.
Well, you can. I always intend that if it's for their highest and greatest good, that they, whatever, that's how. So you don't impede on their free will. I just will intend that if it's for their highest and greatest good, like they will leave my office now.
True. Have you ever used your skills to solve any crime? I know that there have been psychics that have solved crimes or helped.
There are some crime solvers out there. Me finding things isn't that's not anything that I do really well at. I did work, and when I worked in Salina, I worked for the city of Salina, and there was a couple of different murders. And I didn't do anything official whatsoever, but I knew somebody who knew what was going on, and I just gave them my impression. Oh. And they said that I was right on some of them.
Wow.
So that was good to know that I can get some things. But, it's kind of vague sometimes when you get it and how you can find it as proof.
Yeah.
Well, and for you, you're dealing in mostly positive, so you don't open yourself up to that negative stuff.
I don't like going and feeling that kind of energy. I mean, honestly, just watching some TV shows sometimes, I just cannot take it. The news, for one, I cannot take. That's bad enough. Last night I was watching some show that had some violence in it, and I was just cringing inside. I could feel everything, and I just had to get up.
Oh yeah, I bet. We talked about movies like a whole year ago, and I brought up Friday the 13th. How they're all on now, and my mom was watching them. I won't tell the story again, but it's like that's almost not scary compared to it's a different type of scary, but what's on TV now is so
we've been desensitized
and gruesome. And
because everything now is 20 times more gruesome than it was back in the 80s.
I still prefer those 80 movies. So.
Yeah, I love
scare
classic
factor
movies.
Is completely different from now.
Yeah, back then you built suspense. Now it is about jump scares and doing the most vulgar looking things. You look at like Human Centipede. Or some messed
stuff.
up movies that just make you cringe and I bet you feel it 20 times more than a normal person.
Yeah, if I ever watch those, I cannot. I cannot.
Yeah. Well, I can't even imagine because you're talking about feeling the energy of a normal person, but then put in something that is already bad to a normal person. I'm not saying you're not normal, but you can have these extra abilities. Yeah. I can't imagine the feelings you get from watching things, and it'd be like I don't even know how you describe it.
And now that I used to be a lot better, like watching TV shows and that, and not get choked up at things or whatever. But now, not so much. I can't filter some of that. So crying all the time. I go to a funeral, and I went to this funeral, and it was for a friend, and I just knew him. I didn't know anyone else. But boy, did I feel it. I was just crying. The tears are just through the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, Spirit, only my feelings, no one else's, and I mean it.
You were picking up everyone around you's energy.
Yes.
Wow, and that was affecting you. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's crazy. Another thing I had down here, I know there are people that say that this could be a thing too, a big thing. Christians say that you can't be psychic. how would you kind of fight back at that? Or not fight back, but
Well, just say, there's prophecy all over in the Bible, so if they can do it, why can't we? We're supposed to be the same as. So why is it just that Jesus did it and no one else?
yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever came to you and said that before.
I get that. Well, I came up in Kansas. That's the Bible Belt of the whole. I mean,
Yeah.
it was really kind of funny. In the shop that I worked in, I had 2 massage therapists who were gay and married, and then there was me and another gal. When we would have people come in, they would dance around me being a psychic. They'd say, "Oh, she's intuitive. She does healing. Da 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 da." I mean, it was easier for them to say they were a married couple in Kansas than it was I was a psychic. So it was
That
very
puts in perspective.
yeah, big
the time.
difference. So here, and that was just a couple years ago. So, and I moved back here in 2016, and it is amazing in Faribault, just the energy, and people are finding me. It's unbelievable to me. I have people 60 miles away coming for an appointment, and it's like, but you live close to the cities. You could do this, you could do that, and
Yeah.
for whatever reason, they choose me.
Well, I mean, I looked up best psychics in Minnesota, and you popped up, I think, the third
Yeah.
one. So you're up there. I
Very
don't know if you
cool.
realized you were that high
I-
up on the
no,
list.
I did not.
I just typed because I'm like, it'd be cool to get a psychic.
Well, and you
on the
answered
show.
my question right there because I was having a question when you came back to Faribault if you were having better energy than you were out in Kansas, and you said you made peace with Kansas at the end and then came to Faribault. So
Yeah, it is better here psychically. Really, it is. And just people are, I find, more open to it here.
Really?
Or more willing to be open to it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's some that aren't. And I said, that's fine. I'm not going to change you. But when you die and you want to talk to your friend
Yeah.
and you want to come to me, I'll say, I told you.
Do you find yourself getting into ghost paranormal stuff, or do you try to avoid?
I used to do far more clearings. For whatever reason, I don't feel like that is my calling anymore to do so. Probably since I met 2 people who are very good at it, and so I just refer people to them.
Gotcha.
But I do get it. I've cleared some homes. And I gotta say, if a little kid says there's something in the closet, you better believe them. Seriously, I have opened up enough closet doors and gotten swore at to know that
Wow.
there are bad energies in closets.
Wow.
are you using sage and stuff, or like you're using
Yeah, I'll do
things, or-
sage sometimes. Sage, salt, holy water, and Reiki is how I go in and I clear.
I saw that on your website, smudging and space clearing. I was going to ask you what smudging was, because I think I've heard that before.
Smudge pot, right?
Yeah, it follows the Native American tradition of smudging, where you use white sage and you burn it and you fluff it in the energy field or whatever, and whatever the energy is going to go in the smoke and be dissipated. Is the principle behind it. So that's really good in clearing. I like to use sage, lavender buds, and cedar in my blend. And you just burn it, and you just start at the basement, and I go up, you leave a door or a window open so the energy has a place to leave.
Gotcha.
And you go behind doors, inside closets, inside cupboards, and you just smudge your place. And it's a good idea to do it a couple of times a year, actually. Like,
Really?
after a winter, you open up the windows in spring just to get some fresh air in. Well, all that stagnant energy is doing something. So you got to clean it. When I was working down in Kansas, whenever my boss, she would get into herself a little bit, and my coworkers say, next time she leaves, you go in there and you do something to her room. So I go in, give it
There
a
you go,
little
Colin.
Reiki, and I got a little spray, a smudge spray that I
Oh,
do
really?
it. Everything was good after that.
Wow. Do you sell products and stuff
Yeah,
like this?
yeah. I have my own line of chakra balancing system that I created and I make, and I have some other sprays that I make, and I sell crystals and some other little new age items. I don't have a whole lot because I don't want to be a retail store. I just want to have things available for
Yep.
my clients if
You'll
they
put
need
her
it.
information up here, right?
Oh, yeah, I will. Yeah, I will put your website, Zensational, right?
Did you write a book too?
No, I did not. Write
Oh,
a book.
okay, I see.
That's the next step. Everyone's writing books
I
now.
know everybody does.
Yeah, you got to
Everybody
get
does.
something going.
I work with people who write books. I'll just let them do it. It's a long process.
It
it's
is,
not
yeah.
fun. And you go to psychic fairs and everybody's got a book to give.
True,
It's like, oh,
true.
You just make a movie and then you get a movie.
Yeah,
right,
get a movie,
exactly.
Have Ethan make you a movie.
There we
There you
go. Do
go.
a psychic movie. Jack brought up the chakra. The chakras. Is it stones or what is it? What is chakra?
Your
'Cause-
chakras are the organs of your energy field. And you have many of them, but I work the 7 major from the root up to the crown. And you can balance them in different ways. They all have a sound. They have a crystal, more than one crystal, an essential oil, and a color. So Roy G. Biv, the rainbow colors are
Yep.
the main 7. So if something's off in that area, you can just wear that color. meditate or circle that color around you. Spray, use a crystal, whatever it is that you need to help balance it.
Each color goes to a different part of your body. Is that what you're
Correct.
saying?
Yeah.
So what would it be like from down?
So the root is red, and that is at the base of your spine. Below the belly button is your sacral, that's orange. Above the belly button is the solar plexus, that's yellow. Then you have the heart, that's green. The throat is like a robin's egg blue. And then the third eye is indigo, and then the crown is purple, which
Wow.
can go up into clear. Because you have different levels in the different chakras, but that's the basis of it. And each one kind of manages that particular area. For example, the heart chakra, it is represented as the color green, and that's why green is considered a healing color for the heart. You know, it's healing. So that is how you give love, how you receive love, and also it's like from your hands. This whole area is what it does. So as your veins working, is your heart pumping right? All of those things are part of the chakra. So if you're having issues in that area, you want to help manage it. Sometimes when you get a headache, is it really up here because your third eye is bad, or is it down here because something you ate gave you the headache because you might be allergic? So you just work with different things to see how you can balance it out. So if your chakras are balanced, because that's your energy field, like if you're too close to someone, you know you're in their energy field, that is where your chakras and all that is. So if these are nice and balanced, so then when people come into your energy field, you're going to be able to defend or work with their energy a whole lot better than if yours are off. Because I can feel auras and there's globs of stuff in them. And when I do Reiki on someone, I'll find that, I'll take it and I'll move it away.
Wow.
And then you impart positive energy in. Someone that has never had Reiki, I always love it after the first time they get off the table, like, oh my God, I feel so light. You took like 20 pounds off. It's like, yes, I did.
It's not a weight loss solution, is it?
No, metaphorically.
Yeah.
And you've done Reiki on horses?
Yes.
I'm
and
interested in
potbelly
that.
pigs. And
Well, let's hear about this, because that's interesting to me.
I love Reiki. Reiki is a healing energy, kind of like a hands-on healing energy, and I'm a Reiki master. I teach Reiki.
Wow.
And so it's like taking your chi and mixing it with the universal chi, and that's what flows out. And it's heat that comes out of your hand. I'm just going to put that on your shoulder and let me know when you start feeling some heat. So this will start, my hands get a little warm sometimes, so I'll just feel the energy feeling. If there's a pain there, my hands will just automatically go there, and I'll just sit there for a little bit, and then I'll take it and I'll move it away. So when I work with horses, they love it. They'll just lean into you, and they'll just drool almost, I swear. And it's really good energy for them. Cats, dogs, they love it too. Could you feel that yet?
Not yet.
So much. All
What
right.
is it like if a horse is
You got a
a broken
heavy
leg
sweatshirt
or
on.
something, and you would lay your hand
Well,
on
you
the
could,
horse?
or just it's just good for energy, just to feel good, just to clear you up. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have something wrong to need Reiki.
Yeah.
It's just clearing up your energy field and putting positive energy into your energy field, and that is the benefit of it. It really helps people who are anxious, stressed, and it is for pain and cancer people I like working with too.
Really?
For that.
Wow.
That just kind of, it's not going to, I'm not going to say it's not going to, it's possible that it can really maybe help mend or change a situation, but the main reason of getting the Reiki is to help the person cope better with the symptoms or manage what it is that's wrong with them.
Oh, okay.
So they're not so stressed out about it, and so
Yep.
they can handle it more.
Yep.
Can it be a two-way street? Because I would feel doing it with a horse. I'm gonna take as an example because I work with horses. Like it's a benefit for yourself, the one administrating or doing it with the client as well. Like especially, I'm just gonna say horses. So like with a horse, like kind of, I don't want to say take anything from them, but like share, like a feeling.
Well, yes, their energy can be imparted on, and you can kind of feel in. Sometimes I get things from animals psychically. Sometimes not. I do know some people who their main psychic abilities are with animals. So you can feel their energy and help.
Nothing
them.
with Colin because he's a log over here. He's
You
not
can.
feeling any heat or anything.
And I was talking to, and I wasn't really
He's not open.
paying attention
Yeah.
as much. So
You got to focus it on.
I got to
there.
focus it on a little bit
Gotcha.
sometimes. Yeah, and that's why I like vibrational sound therapy too, because it kind of does the same thing as the Reiki energy.
I was going to ask you, what is vibrational sound therapy? I saw that on your website.
I went to training for that, and it is using Tibetan singing bowls. And I'll place them on the body, and then you strike them in a measured technique, and then the bowl will dissipate, and then you'll strike it again. Sometimes I put 2 or 3 on the body and play them.
Really?
And I also do sound concerts where I'm going to do an event for Halloween. We're going to do corpse pose and magical bowls. So we're doing with a yoga studio. So they're going to be laying in corpse pose while I'm playing the bowls.
What's corpse pose?
You just lay on the floor like you're dead.
Like a dead body. Yeah. Is there videos that we could like pull up of this? Because I'm interested the Tibetan bowls.
Oh, I do have pictures on my page about my bowls.
Oh, really? Yeah,
and
go.
how to work with them.
Where do we go? Where do we go to look at that?
Vibrational sound therapy up at the top.
And this is on sensational.com
.biz.
for
Yep.
people. Or
You'll put
.biz?
the link in the bio. Already.
I will.
.biz.
.biz.
So so that picture I like right there. So when you hit a bowl, like if you imagine water, how it starts like that,
Yep.
and then it'll dissipate and go down. The body is 80% water.
Oh yeah.
So this is why it was work. So when you hit that, it's like a deep tissue massage without getting a deep tissue massage.
Wow.
It's really beneficial. Then of course you get the sound in that and the vibration. Some of the bowls that I use for this are made specifically for vibration over
Really?
sound, and then I have some that are just for sound.
Wow. And there's different sizes and stuff too. Or is that for different scenarios?
Different sounds. It'll give different notes. Some people are really wanting to have certain notes that match the chakras. To me, I don't care. A sound's a sound. It's beautiful. Who isn't going to like it?
Yeah.
So I just don't like too many rules and things. So you can see kind of here, that is with the child, I'm using a grounding technique on that to help ground kids, ones that just are jumping around and all the time and are little ADD. This is very good for them.
Wow.
Also really good for kids who are autistic as well. And I don't have to place them on. I can put them on the side of the table just so they feel the vibration coming through the table is also a great benefit.
Wow. So is it an energy transfer from the bowl to your skin into your into your energy?
Right, into the body. And there is really good for people who are athletes. Stiffen the hips, shoulders, or whatever. I can work those areas and help loosen it. I'm currently working with a gal who has been to chiropractors, acupuncturists, and doctors, and she's got a hip thing. They really can't figure out what it is.
Wow.
And she came for vibrational sound therapy, and she got off the table. And she said, by the time I got to the car, she goes, I was moving a whole lot better. And she comes back every couple of weeks now for vibrational sound to help.
Wow. What's your biggest clientele? Is it younger, older? Or is it kind of a good mix?
It's been morphing a little bit. They're getting a little bit younger now.
Really?
I kind of had more of people my age in their mid-50s. Now it's getting more 30s, young mothers, I guess is a lot.
That's your majority.
They have issues with their children. They don't know what to do with, they're so stressed out. There's so much pressure on young women to be parents and everything.
Yep.
So it's really good that I'm glad that they find their way to me.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't know if there was a certain gender that came to you.
Women, mostly.
Women, you said women.
Occasionally a guy, and if a guy comes, it's financial stuff that they want to know about, or a passed on loved one is usually what they want to know
Really?
about.
Is there anything that anyone's ever brought to you that you've just been unable to figure out for them? Like they've asked you a really difficult question.
Yeah. Well, I have people that are reading, and I just get crickets. There's nothing coming in. Spirit is left the building, and I have to say, I'm sorry. We're going to end this. I'm not charging. I just don't get anything, and they want to know why. It's like, I don't know. Wow. Maybe your people don't like me. Maybe you say you want a reading, but really you don't because you're afraid of what I'm going to tell you. Sometimes people are I'm afraid you're going to tell me when I die. I'm afraid. It's like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
There's a good measure between real and fake too.
If
just be able to say that and say, I'm not taking your money. I'm not going to make something up.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not feeling anything.
Yeah.
Well, and especially when I know a passed on loved one, if I just said, oh yes, I have them here and they love you dearly, or if I said that, it would, but I can't. How could I, that's a lie if I don't really have them. So it's like, please come through. Please come through.
Is this event on actual Halloween on the 31st?
The day before.
The day before Halloween Eve. Yeah.
Well, and we the one of the things we talked about with Tom, who was on the podcast last, he said October, this time of the year, is an infamous time for negative energy to be around. Do you feel that? Is that something that you...
Well, it's possible. I think it's all where...
If you allow it, maybe.
Where energy goes, where intention flows. So if that's where you're at, then yes, I don't give too much credence to Halloween. It's different, and it just because I do this 24/7. It's not just during this particular time of year.
Yep.
And it's sometimes I feel it may cheapen it a little bit, the capitalization on the psychic part sometimes, even though people think about spirits more at this time. I'm not a huge Halloween.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Is
Well, it's
this
kinda-
one of your busier seasons?
Yeah.
That's
it
what he
is.
said too. He said
Yeah.
that he gets called a lot. He does more like exorcism type stuff, getting rid of demons and
Yeah, see, when I felt stuff like that, it's like, oh, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
I was going to ask you if you had ever had anybody come to you.
She needs
I've
a cleansing rod.
Yeah,
She needs
pointed
the
at-
clay. He brings
Man,
the
I got a
big.
kick
He
out of
has
that.
some big
Crystal
tools and
pistol.
crystal pistols.
I
and
bet.
Pointed
some
right at
crazy
you,
stuff.
Ethan.
There
I
was
know.
there was one clearing that I did in a house. It started out. The energy was in the daughter's bedroom, and we were down. The room was cold, and it just had a danker kind of feeling. So we were in there with the Holy One, and the girl that was helping me. She was just. I was doused. I was baptized again with how much she was throwing around. But anyway, I was doing Reiki and everything else, and the dad came. He was like. The room changed about 10 degrees warmer after we had moved it out of there. But then as I was working on him at the end, then all of a sudden I felt this huge thing coming up behind me. And I had to do some pretty high spiritual cleansing stuff. And I'm a child of God. You cannot hurt me kind of stuff.
Wow.
And had to really pull out the big guns.
So this was something. Would you call it demonic or?
That's when you call in Tom.
I was thinking of
Yeah.
the sitcom. Mickey and Tom.
You think
Well,
have
two
that
other
number
sides
flash
of
up
the-
on the screen right now?
If you need help, Tom. No, but would
That
you?
would be.
Would you say that's? I mean, I don't know if you.
It was a really bad, dark negative, and possibly could be, but I didn't want to find out and talk to it long enough. I just wanted it gone. And this gentleman had really bad problems with his feet. And once again, I felt a lot of emotional crap. He even had surgeries and things of that nature.
Wow.
And he just had a really hard time getting back from that surgery and being able to walk. He's using 2 canes.
Wow.
Coincidence or not, I don't believe in coincidence. I know after I cleared that house, he was way better. He got better, got rid of the canes, and he was doing just fine.
Wow. And did you use like saging stuff like that in that house?
Yep.
Wow. So maybe that is something that people. I mean, I know it's a thing.
You should
that
get some of that, Ethan.
We should. I mean,
or
we
at
haven't
least some
had any-
incense for
We
your
haven't had
bathroom.
any issues around. Thank you, David. We haven't had any issues around here. Nothing. I haven't felt any bad. I don't. Can you feel anything in here like that? I mean,
Is him at
Well,
home?
there's so much electronics right here.
Yeah,
I'm just
that's like-
I was going to ask you
Video
this.
games
I was
now,
gonna actually
like-
get that was one of my questions. Do electronics ever play into your feeling because of the different? Obviously, we have so much going on.
Yeah,
right here.
you can feel a little bit of buzz. It's a little bit different. It's an energy that takes you up, and you kind of feel it more in between your temples.
Oh, okay. What does the third eye mean? That's very interesting to me.
It's right here, the third eye, or they call it some brow something too. This is kind of like when people are psychic or open, this third eye is open, and I can visualize and see what that eye looks like. And sometimes I help people open that.
Wow.
And then other times I close it down because it's too much for someone to handle. They can't deal with it.
Oh.
I think people sometimes who have mental illness, who are diagnosed with mental illnesses, probably have something, but it's more or less because they feel energies and they're feeling other people's stuff and not realizing how to process it through themselves. And I think that's where a lot of anxiety comes through too.
Wow.
Anxiety.
So you get someone that is a psychic but doesn't know how to control those powers, and so they shouldn't be a psychic.
Well, no, they don't really realize they're psychic. Maybe they're just an empath and they're feeling other people's stuff, or they like psychic things and they dabble in psychic stuff. You know, they're open to some degree.
Ethan, is this where I can interject my Game of Thrones reference as the three-eyed raven?
Of
You don't know
course.
what I'm talking about, but
No.
the three-eyed raven, it's like the past, future, and present. Well, anyways.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to give the Game of Thrones reference.
Sorry.
You always
It all
have a
ties
game.
back.
I gotta watch this show, David.
I
Did
have
you-
never seen
No.
it.
I've never.
I
David,
haven't either.
Yeah, it's pretty
Damon's always
gruesome
bringing it
to
up.
see.
David knows how to get it into every episode. Damon, they should be
I don't
paying you
try-
by now.
I don't
Damon,
try.
they should
I don't
be paying
try.
you by
I
now.
don't try, but
Damon just gave you a warning not to check it out. 'cause
yeah,
it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, there's some gruesome parts. But
Is there really?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think I'd like
No.
that.
HBO.
Maybe less the last season. Don't go. I mean, people that this isn't a Game of Thrones podcast. No one really liked the last season because they had to tie it all together really quick. But,
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good show.
Huh.
Maybe you need to start your own Game of
Game
Thrones
of Fantasy.
podcast.
Game of Thrones podcast.
Oh, it
Here we go.
exists. The Ringer.
We're talking about feeling energy and stuff like that. I've heard that specifically dogs can pick up energy, not better than humans, but they'll sometimes be staring at something and you're not sure what it is.
Right,
or-
they're probably
cats, too.
seeing a spirit walking around.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because I've heard dogs can pick up things that humans sometimes can't.
Right, and if your dog doesn't like someone, pay attention.
Oh.
They know this. And back to the Reiki and animals, I some dogs love it, And some dogs, it's just too much for them. I had one dog, I kind of had to catch him as he was crawling by the room, through the room. I just had to like follow him along with my hands. And I had a little dog that was like a Reiki horse. You just like, Reiki.
Loved it. Wow, that's crazy. I've just heard that before, and I didn't know if there was anything to that.
Is Sadie here?
Yeah,
Sadie is here.
She met Sadie.
She met Sadie. Yeah,
she's a nice dog.
Yeah, very calm. Now,
she brings a good energy in this house.
Yeah, she does bring a good energy because everyone loves Sadie, and maybe that has something to do with it. Animals bringing that positive energy into people's lives.
Well, I can attest to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you do the
horses.
horse-assisted therapy. Yeah, how that can make a difference on somebody, and a lot of the people. That's actually a really good point, Dan, because a lot of the people you guys are helping. They're younger kids, right? And are they going through stuff that
usually 8 to 16 years of age? Usually, they're going through a ton of different things.
Just bad home situations.
Yeah, and if bad home situations and everything. Just to put it in a nutshell, I mean, a lot of kids maybe will come and like, oh, I'm too cool for school. Like, I don't want to do the program, but maybe you're not getting through to them with the way what you're telling them. But then you set them next to an animal, in this case, the horse, our horses, and they just like open up, and you do a little less talking, let the horses. Kind of take over, and that's where you learn the safety, and you groom them. You just spend time grooming them, and it's not you're not transferring energy or anything. We're not doing that.
Yeah,
but we're doing the you were caring and kindness.
And when I lived in Kansas, the neighbor girl ended up living with us for a while, and she did horse therapy, and it helped her immensely to do it.
It's like they're getting an energy from those horses that they can't get from
because
humans.
they don't judge you. They feel how you feel, and they can make you feel that too. So if you're having a down day and you're around them, you kind of can talk to them because you can tell them anything.
Yep.
That sounds weird, but that's true.
It is true.
And they probably appreciate having someone with them too.
Yeah. And these animals are over 1,000 pounds.
Yep.
So like a lot of times kids are scared of them. They're really good for building trust again, because a lot of kids, even adults, have trust issues. So you have to trust a horse if you're going to work with one and lead them, and even obviously when you get to riding them.
Yep.
So confidence building too. All around.
That's great. Yeah, I can't. We don't talk about it enough because it's such a good thing you're doing, Damon. So I'm just
healing and helping.
Yeah,
and helping. So hand in hand there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
hand
saying.
And hoof.
I have one more kind of thing here. I was looking up questions that everyone has for a psychic, and I came across an article. It's 7 questions you should never ask a psychic. I thought this would be funny.
Okay, yeah, let's see what you're not supposed to
I think I'm going to
because I'm not real sure.
Yeah, this is the 7, and we've already talked about some of them, so I don't know this article. It says, the first one, I wasn't sure what this meant, but maybe you do. Number 1, I just want a general.
I prefer people who want a general reading.
What does that mean?
I would say general instead of asking certain questions. Just tell me what spirit needs, what I need to know.
Oh, okay.
So I like it when people want, just tell me what I need.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's cross that one off because that one is not okay.
Maybe you wrote that. Maybe I don't want a general.
Second one. Should I leave my husband or wife?
Ooh, yeah, dude.
Oh, I always get that. I always get that one. Yes, ask that. That's why you're coming to us.
Really?
Yes.
How do you answer something? That's got to be such a tough...
Well, I feel the energy of it. And are they... sometimes they just need an impartial person to help them through the process.
Do you need both of them there? Or
No.
Okay.
No, I can feel that other person's energy around them. And for example, do I feel a lot of times they're not nice people. So it's like, is he abusing you? Is he doing this? In fact, this was just a couple weeks ago. This was a tough one for me. She came to me and she didn't know what to do with her relationship, and she was just shaking. And it turns out that he raped her, like about a week ago at a campground, and some other things else that happened. And I said, I got to get you some help. And like, Spirit, what am I supposed to do? What? It's not psychic that she needs. She needs real help.
Yeah.
And so I asked her if I could call a Women's Help Center for Crisis Center. And so we found one around where she lived. It was out of my area.
Yeah.
And she went there, and I checked with her how it went shortly after, and she said she was in the process of trying to change her life. So I haven't heard from her. I pray that she's okay.
Yeah.
And part of this, many psychics go through a lot of stuff in their life so they can help other people. I have been in an abusive relationship, so I have that under my belt. I have some certain areas in my life that I had to go through so I can help people. And so I knew that's why she came to me, because I had that in my background.
Wow.
And I knew that I could help her.
That's
and
great.
then you
So-
gave her the tools on what to do, because that's the sensing right from the beginning.
Well,
like give tools and
exactly. So then afterwards we went to the cards and he said, if you do this, let's see how it feels. And it was just love and light coming through, and life's going to be better. So it was really good encouragement for her to make a good, positive change.
Yeah. That's great. So, I mean, people, ask that question.
Ask that question.
Let's cross that one
Cross
off.
that one off the list.
This is another one. We talked about this before. Will I get married and have kids?
Oh, yeah, I get that one all the time.
Okay, so
Cross
that's
that
going to
off
be
the
a
list.
tough
Sounds like a horrible article.
This is
one.
just this is the article I found.
Right. And so, because sometimes I'll feel the energy of little ones around someone. If they don't have them, I feel what may be coming. And if they will be married, I'll feel their energy. Like, where are you in 5 years? Where are you in 10 years? Are you alone? Are you with this? And so then that helps me discern what they're going to be in in the future.
they're probably tired of hearing their mom say, "When are you gonna have kids and get married?"
Right,
They're
exactly.
It's not in their head till someone keeps asking them.
I wanted to go to, and I never been to a psychic really until that one time. And I was having issues trying to have kids, and it's like when we were going, it's like I saw these places for psychics, like, oh, I want to stop and go, but I never did ask for myself.
Yeah.
And that turns out I never was it been going to be a no. But
How can you feel if someone's going to get married? Is that something you feel somebody with them?
yes,
Like a male with them,
I'll
if
feel,
it's a female?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Sometimes it's like I'm not sure if it's a male or a female, so I have to be really general.
Yeah.
Your partner. You know,
You never know. I
your
mean,
sweetheart.
Yeah, yeah. Will I have enough money is number 4.
Yeah, you can ask that. It depends on, I mean, it depends what you want if you'll have enough. You know, how do you answer that? I always feel, I don't worry. I mean, I worry somewhat. I'm trying to change my way on this. I am always provided for. Spirit always lets me know that I have abundance in my life. If I need something, something comes into me. You know, they help me manage my schedule. When I need a little bit of downtime, I get a couple days off. When I need to make some money, all of a sudden I've got all kinds of bookings coming in. So whenever I just know wherever I'm going, wherever direction it leads, I'm going to be protected and I'll have what I need.
That's a good way to look at it. Wow. So I don't know what's wrong with this article. These are bad ones. Pretty much ask anything. Just like, I'll just go through the final ones here. Will I be happy? What about my family? Will they be happy? And what is the future behold for my health?
Well, those are all questions people come to a psychic for.
Maybe I'm pretty sure it said 7 questions to not ask a psychic, but maybe it said 7 questions to ask a psychic. I thought it said not to.
Probably said not to because they don't want you. So then what would you ask a psychic? If you can't ask any of those questions, what do you need me
Give
for?
them guidance and tools.
I don't know. That's a bad. Okay.
I
Maybe
would have
whoever
nothing
wrote the article needs to see a
Psychic.
psychic.
Exactly.
What I've got from this
Sometimes
whole
they
thing,
don't want to do too specific. You're kind of a guy.
Yeah,
you know, and
yeah.
Yeah.
What I've got from this whole thing is you want people to come to you with what they're feeling, and you want really them to feel open and ask you whatever they have on their mind.
Right. The more open they are, the better. If you're sitting across someone, they say, "Oh, I'm open," but their arms are crossed, their feet are crossed. I mean, I bet they're, everything.
Yep.
It's like, no, you're not open for it. Just put your arms down.
Yep.
Colin's arms are crossed. I keep picking
Oh.
on him.
See? Yep, that's
Body
exactly right.
language, open that up.
Yeah, that would be exactly.
I'm
as-
slouched over.
So.
Yep. Wow. Well, and let's just kind of finally here to end this off. Let's just plug Miki's website and everything. It is zensational.biz, and you're holding an event here on the 30th of October, right?
Right.
And talk about that a
It had
little
a
bit.
sweet name.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so it's a be in Faribault, and it is on a Facebook event. You can follow my Facebook page, Zensational. And you just sign up through the get ticket link on there, and it's going to be laying in corpse pose for about a half hour while I play the bowls. And afterwards, the 2 other gals that are doing this with me, we both have, all 3 of us are psychic, and we're going to pull cards for people and give them
really?
a message.
Wow. October 30th. What time is that at? Check the Facebook page.
7-ish.
7-ish.
It'll
Check
be on
the-
Facebook.
It'll be on Facebook. I'll put the link in the bio
Yes,
so everyone
thank
can
you
check
very
that
much,
out.
yeah.
So Miki, thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
It
Wow,
has
is
been
that
Thank you,
done
Miki.
already?
Yeah,
it was an hour
Thank you.
already.
Wow.
It has been a very fast podcast here, and there's a lot more stuff we could get into. But that just means I'll have to come back again
Sure.
for round 2 of the podcast, and we can even get questions from our viewers.
Maybe do a reading for someone.
There we go.
Yes.
And we can get questions because I know people, I know like some of the fans are
Love
going to
to.
have questions that we could ask you as well.
Sure.
Just about psychics and if they're curious. So
Yeah.
Damon and Colin, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Yeah.
It has been a great episode of the podcast. We're going to be back next week. Hopefully getting Adrian Lee on. That would be the goal to kind of finish off the month of October. Adrian is one of our most popular guests. He's a paranormal investigator who's traveled around the world. So
And
that's-
Wisconsin.
And Wisconsin. I saw that he just did a presentation in Wisconsin. So
That's what you're telling me.
he should be back now. So we're going to continue that off and finish up the October month for the podcast and just keep getting cool people on the podcast. So Miki, thanks again for
You
coming.
bet. Thank you.
thank
We'll be back next week, and make sure everyone's out there sharing the podcast, getting it out there. And we really appreciate everyone who does every week, shares it and likes it and comments and gives us ideas for people to get on and topics to talk about. So we'll be back next week. This is the Ethan Clerc Podcast Show.